Now, the Trump administration's peace envoy for Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, has said that although his talks with the Taliban have produced a tentative framework agreement, but negotiations are far from finished. And speaking at the U.S. Institute for Peace in Washington, Khalilzad also added that he hopes a final deal is clinched before Afghanistan's presidential election in July.
The timing of a peace settlement from our point of view is the sooner is better. I have said that although there is an election, I know that makes reaching a peace agreement particularly complicated, but it would be better for Afghanistan if we could get a peace agreement before the election, which is scheduled in July. At the same time, while we would prefer to see an agreement before July, a peace agreement, to bring the Taliban also into the process so that that peace agreement would facilitate a peaceful election or a peaceful framework for proceeding with regard to the future of Afghanistan, but that if there is no progress on the peace track, elections will take place, and we are doing what we can to support the preparations for a credible elections.
Khalilzad, who was a former ambassador to Kabul, also addressed U.S. President Donald Trump's troop withdrawal plans. He said that any U.S. troop withdrawal would be dependent on conditions on the ground and not on any particular timetable. Khalilzad said, and I quote, "My overall goal is at the direction of the President and the Secretary of State, not to seek a withdrawal agreement, but a peace agreement." Khalilzad's comments come after weeks of negotiations with Taliban officials in Doha that have, according to many, yielded moderate progress. However, many experts suggest that no efforts for peace will be successful until and unless intra-Afghan talks involving current Afghan officials are set in motion. Last week, unprecedented talks between Taliban officials and senior Afghan officials were held in Moscow. However, the discussions were panned as irrelevant by Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, as they did not have anyone from the government.
The U.S. Special Representative on Afghan Reconciliation Process, Ambassador Zalmay Khalilzad, while speaking to an event, he's said that the withdrawal agreement should not be treated as just a withdrawal agreement, but it should be treated as the Afghan peace agreement, because it does not just pertain to the withdrawal. He's also said that there are some red lines, and those are very clearly specified, that in case the Afghan soil is used against America or American interests, then the Taliban would be crossing those red lines, and that the U.S. would have to reconsider that. He's also said that there have been a significant progress, but no deal is done until a final deal is there. So and that the United States government will be pushing for a ceasefire. He's hoped and wished that a ceasefire or a peace agreement can be reached before the Afghan presidential elections. But at the same time, he's also reiterated that come what may, in case a peace agreement is not done by the July 20th, the date of the Afghan elections, then even in that case, the Afghan elections will go ahead as planned. For Wion from Islamabad, Pakistan, Anas Malik, World is One.